Hello and welcome back to another episode of 3-Word Interviews. This week we'd like to introduce to you the absolute legend of a comedian, Rich Wilson.
So, welcome to 3-Word Interviews.
Thanks for having me.
No
Lovely to be here.
Cool. So we're going to start, as always, with the board. All we need you to do is pick 3 words, have a look at them, slip into the interview, then it's down to the viewers to guess what words you've gone for.
Okay, so the words are here.
Yep.
Can I pick any of these?
You do indeed.
Oh.
Manage them?
Yes. Easy.
Okay, cool. And do you want to explain to the viewers what prize you're donating?
I'm donating 2 tickets to one of my future shows. I'm in various comedy clubs up and down the country. So if whoever wins, whatever club I'm in, and if you're nearby, I will get you in on the door. You and a friend or a partner or whoever you want to bring. We'll do that.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Appreciate
Or if I can, which I probably can, I'm doing the warm up for my partner's tour, Jade Adams. So I'll get you in on that. So there'll be 2 tickets for a show, either mine or Jade's. We'll do that. She's gonna love that. I'm giving away tickets to her show.
It all depends how good you are at slipping them in.
Oh man, we're trying to work some kind of voodoo and get them in, so that's fun.
Cool. So let's go back to how it started. How did you get into comedy?
I got into it by accident. I always loved comedy, but I never in a million years thought I'd do it myself. I just loved it, and it was what other people did. I got a job working at Up the Creek Comedy Club in Greenwich in January 2001. I'd worked in a pub before, so I knew how to pull a pint. And then as I got into it, got to know the comics, they were like, "Oh, you've obviously got something about you. You could probably do this."
Yeah.
And then one of them, his name's Silky, and he was running gigs. He said, "You come and do my gig." And then all of a sudden, 15 years later, after a bit of a zigzag, I'm like, I'm here and I'm doing it, you know?
And do you remember your first joke?
My first joke was horrendous. It was a lot of this thing. When you start out in comedy, an easy subject is sex. And a friend of mine called Sarge, we used to play football together and hang out together and go see bands and stuff. And he told me this story about this sexual practice called the frog punch. And I'm going to leave that there because it's not very nice. The word punch is in it. It's not nice. And the joke was, it was like the frog punch, and you have to do it at a certain time during sex. And I was like, when is the right time to punch someone during sex? You know, that was kind of the premise of the joke.
Yeah.
Which did all right. It got a laugh. It got enough of a laugh. But
Yeah.
I couldn't then remember the next joke I was supposed to do. I only had 5 minutes.
Right.
And I couldn't remember the next joke. So I kind of stood there, and then the bloke was running the gig. He went, "Get off." I went, "All right, bye." So that was my first gig. 2.5 minutes.
And your first heckle too.
Yeah. Off. Well, it's called It's called something law. If it's going badly, get off. If it's going well, get off.
Right.
So yeah. I can't remember what it is. I should Google it. I have the information at my fingertips, and I keep forgetting.
Yeah.
So yeah,
That's fair enough.
Well, we've got this whole internet is out there like this. It's like we're in the Matrix, and we get all this stuff.
Yeah.
Let's use it. And I don't. What was that called? I don't know.
So you've done comedy for 15 years. You must have hit sort of bumps and obstacles and stuff. What advice would you give to upcoming comedians?
Ignore everything. Ignore social media. Ignore whatever your friends are doing. You just got to focus on what you want. If you're getting into it because you want to be famous, I'd be wary, because that doesn't happen to everybody. Yeah. It's not about how good you are. It's about what you know. It's not about what you know. It's about who you know, and there's a lot of luck involved in that. But if you want to be a comedian, then you want to do the gigs and be a comedian, then that's focus on that. It's one of the best things I've ever done. I love being a comedian. Yeah. But you will get doubts. I'm currently in the middle of severe writer's block. And I was on the train coming down, and I'm like, I hate comedy. It's like, in the middle, oh God, I'm just gonna get rid. You have moments like that, and then suddenly the fog lifts, and suddenly you'll think of a new joke, and then this new material will appear before you.
Yeah.
You know, it's you have to really push through it and really dig for the magic, but it's there.
I mean, comedians can get inspiration from almost anything, and you talk about your kids a lot. Do they enjoy being the butt of the joke?
Well, the thing is, they're not really the butt. They are. It's more like they're the ones looking at me like I'm the idiot.
Yeah.
Which is where a lot of my comedy comes from. It's that I'm the butt of the joke a lot of the time. You know, even though I'm an absolute legend, which you can't walk out on stage and say that. I'm an absolute legend, brilliant between the sheets, and my boys think I'm an absolute don. You know, you can't. You got to walk out and be the fool.
Yeah.
But they love it. They're very. I think they are. They don't tell me, but they're very proud.
I mean, when I've seen you in the past, I've noted that you do a lot of audience interaction. I mean, I always admire people who can sort of bounce off the crowd. Is it something that you just sort of remember? You have to practice lots, or do you just memorize lots of different options?
Practice.
Yeah,
it's practice, and I try. I mean, that's an age-old trick. Is that hi, what's your name? What do you do?
Yeah.
And I do get a bit annoyed when I walk out and I do it again. I'm like, what? Don't come up with something else, Rich.
Yeah.
But it's so easy. It's such an easy thing. But I try and keep it positive, especially the way things are now. You know, if you've got a job and and we're in the middle of a recession and we're all skint, but you've gone, do you know what? I just need a break. I'm going to go to a comedy night. I'm going to have a laugh.
Yeah.
And then you turn up and this fat bloke just walks out and go, oh, what's your job? That's a bit shit. You know, so I try and keep it positive, and I'm like, oh, what's that then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, it's that. You know, and I have a laugh with it without offending. You know, I don't want to annoy people. You know.
And have you had any instances where you weren't necessarily prepared for?
I do it in my act. I do it in my set, and this is true. I said to a guy, "What do you do?" And he said, "I shave dolphins." And I wasn't expecting it, so it threw me, and I was like, "Oh, you don't see many hairy dolphins, mate." And he went, "I'm really good at what I do," and it really, honestly, it really made me laugh. And I mean, I've said that joke now loads of times, but it's completely true.
Yeah.
And it completely threw me, and it was beautiful. It was so well done. The timing, everything was bang on. And that's the other thing as well as a comic. If someone is funny in the audience, give it to them. Go, you know what? You've smashed that. You know, don't be a dick about it, because then that way you'll keep the audience on your side. But I have had instances where I've been MCing and it hasn't. They have not liked me, and it's been a tough gig. You just got to keep going back on. Yeah. Oh, me again. So.
And then moving from the stage, you do your podcast, Insane the Membrane. What can people expect from that?
It's a philosophical chat about mental health.
Yeah.
See, because the phrase mental health has been bandied around so many times now, people are getting bored with it. Like, it's more about having a conversation about, because that's how we're going to get through all this shit, and that's how we're going to improve, especially men, because men really have trouble opening up and talking to each other. Yeah. And I get it, because I'm quite open. Like only through, you know, by practicing what I preach. Yeah. Like I'm not afraid to to come in and go, "Oh, you smell nice," to another man, and they're like, and it throws people.
It really does.
Oh, thank you. And you go, yeah, but why shouldn't you say something? That's why you've put that on. Yeah. It's nice to have someone go, "Oh, you smell cool, man. Yeah, I like what you did with you. That's a nice jacket." You know, but men don't do that. No. And if we do things like that, you know, there's always talk about, men need to talk about their feelings. In order to do that, you need to start somewhere. You can't just walk out and go, "Right, I'm going to talk about my feelings. Okay, I'm feeling suicidal today," because everyone's going to go, "Whoa, all right, dude, listen, just wanted a pint," you know. Yeah. It's starting from, you know, having a lot of men will talk about football, you know, but they won't branch out from that, because it's safe. Football is where a lot of men, you know, can communicate. Yeah. They don't really know how to move on from that. You know, talking about shoes or music, they sort of clam up again, and they're like, "Oh no, that's like girls talk about shoes and music." You go, "No, men should talk about that sort of thing as well." You know, so it's having those it's the conversation I have on the podcast. It's showing men how you do it, basically. It's not in a patronising way. It's look, this is two blokes talking to each other. You've
had a lot of big names in the past. I mean, Rob Beckett, Andrew Bird. You've obviously built it up through your comedy network. Is there anyone you really want on the chat on your podcast?
Blimey. That's the other thing as well, trying to branch out away from comedians as well, because you know, I think there's a lot of us, you know, we're on everything. And I think it'd be nice to hear other people from other walks of life. And so I'm trying to get interesting people. I'd love to get someone, I don't know, I'd love to talk to Tom Hardy.
Okay.
Or, I would have loved to have spoken to Marlon Brando in his day, when he was alive. And just, epic people that you wouldn't normally expect to have on a podcast,
Yeah. And then talking about your big names, okay, your dream comedy lineup, who would you have? You've got a compare, headline, and 2 supports.
Dead or alive?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, this is huge, man. Right, okay. MCing, I would have, who would I have? Oh, man, this is a difficult one.
Question,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Holy shit. All right. I would have Richard Pryor. I would have Norm Macdonald MCing. I would have, any of them can close. They're all, this thing, it's like the Comedy Store. It doesn't matter where you go on the bill.
Yeah.
They can all close. So I've said Richard Pryor closing, but it doesn't have to be that.
Yeah.
Madeline Kahn, who was in the Mel Brooks films. I don't know if she ever did stand up, but she was so funny.
Right.
I'd have her on. Dave Allen. He was,
Okay.
He was an Irish comic.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And when his programs were on in the 70s and the 80s, everything stopped. Like, people were like, it was like because they were never on all the time, so it was a special thing.
Yeah.
So when Dave Allen had his programs on, that would be the way. Yeah. So that would be my lineup.
So you haven't had necessarily that much TV work. If you could have any offer, what show would you go on?
I would love to bring back a show called The White Room, which was on in the 90s, and it was music. It was a cross between like The Word and like Jules Holland's, Jules Holland's.
Right. Yeah.
And then it would have old videos of old bands and things like that. So 1 minute you'd have Oasis would open the show, right. And then they'd have an old clip of Sly and the Family Stone, and then you'd come back and then you'd have Noel Gallagher sitting down with Paul Weller, putting those two together, and they're doing a song together. Another time they'd have Bobby Womack and Damon Albarn. All these like mishmash of like putting people together. Right, we'll do a song tonight, and it was hosted by Mark Radcliffe. And It was absolutely brilliant. It was so good, and I would love to do that. Bring it back, and I'd host it.
Why not?
Yeah.
There's any TV execs out there?
Yeah, do it. Come on, man. Or I'll co-host it with Radcliffe. We'll get him back. Yeah, I think I'd love that.
So, last question. What's next, obviously, apart from this big show that we're going to recommission?
Yeah. That's it. That's it.
What's next for you, though?
I don't know. Just the comedy, gigging. I'm writing a book connected to the podcast.
Cool.
Which is it's sort of just the stuff that it'd be me just talking about things I've done and the problems they were self-inflicted. I've had a nice life, and I know I mucked it up. So it's a bit like Mark Maron's book, Attempting Normal.
Right.
Which is a great. Mark Maron is absolutely brilliant, and that's a great book if you've not read it. Attempting Normal. So yeah, that's a good one. So it's a book like that. It's called Insane in the Membrane. And it'll be like Mark Maron's Attempting Normal. And then whatever comes along.
Yeah.
Hopefully, interesting stuff.
Who knows?
If not, I'll just keep driving to Norwich. I don't know. But yeah, nice one.
No, fair enough. Well, thanks, massive thanks for coming along.
Thank
we
you.
really appreciate you coming down.
Yeah.
So make sure you check out all of Rich's links. They're going to be down below. Do you want to tell them what your links are?
I am Rich Wilson on Twitter. I am Rich Wilson on Instagram. And there's a link on all these things in my bio. It's a smart link as well that will take you directly to the podcast on whatever you listen to it to. So on a Mac or whatever, it'll just take you there. Smart.
So it's all interlinked.
It's all interlinked, man. Just
Nice.
click on it and it'll take you straight there.
So make sure you follow them. Also, all our links are down below. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, and we'll see you next time.